Has it ever happened to you when your kiddos don't want to read from books? Instead, they want you to narrate them a story. Well, it happens with me many times. And frankly speaking, I enjoy it as much as I enjoyed reading from a book. In fact, I take this as an opportunity to convey some important lessons to my kiddo in the form of a story. But it is not the same for many. Not everyone is always up for creating on-the-spot stories. But I feel we all have a storyteller within us. Sometimes it takes the backseat in the presence of other fancy and easily accessible resources. So why not to wake up that storyteller? Let's see how to make the storytelling session an interesting experience for you and your kiddo. Hi, I'm Alpana Dev and you are listening to Mother's Gurukul podcast, a place where I talk about various aspects of parenting and share my tips and tricks to make your parenting journey smooth and beautiful. I also talk about some motivational topics that will make your life easy. So let's learn together, let's grow together at Mother's Gurukul podcast. People of all ages love stories. Something that starts as a bedtime story or a bonding time with our grandparents turns into something to catch up on a missed episode of our favorite TV show. When done effectively, storytelling takes us in a completely new world. You must have observed your kids' changing expressions when you read them a story with full emotions, tone variation, and modulation. Stories have the power to gather, to teach, to entertain, and to soothe. Human brains are wired for stories. When we were growing up, our parents and grandparents made a new story each day. They never took the help of any book or never searched at the internet with the hashtag bedtime stories for kids. They were experts in making impromptu stories. With time, the pattern of bedtime stories has changed. Now, parents read books to their kids. I also follow it. Luckily, we have an excellent public library with a wide variety of kids' books. There is no limit to issuing books. So every week I go to the library and issue almost 15 to 20 books. It gives me and my kiddo a variety of options to pick from for each story time. And I prefer physical copies over Kindle stories. I want my child to hold the book while we read it. According to the abc.net.au, it says that when your child hear a vocabulary word spoken, they learn to read it more easily later. I will leave the link to this article in the show notes. You can read the entire article. So let's see how we can be a good and an engaging storyteller. First thing is, bring your characters to life. One of the essential skills of storytelling is bringing the characters to life. When we support our storytelling with emotions, it impacts the listeners. Talking about kids, then they love listening to a story that is told with emotions. So do accents, take some dramatic pauses, modulate your voice. Yes, voice modulation is very important. Elevating and reducing it to construct narrative momentum. Speak humorously and laugh with your kids when they laugh to make it easier and a happy and a lighter moment for everyone. Next is build a story around what has happened during the day. One of the biggest challenges in storytelling is finding the plot. This problem is solved when we start looking for small details that have happened throughout the day. Sometimes events from school can become the central point of the story. Now, when you have figured out what you want your story to be, add few personal elements into it. We can turn the story in whichever direction we want when we are the driver. We can decide the end and bring new characters into our story. Actually, that's how my first book, A Girl in the New Town, took its shape. A Girl in the New Town was born from the bedtime stories that I used to tell my daughter and my niece. While you are having the storytelling session with your child, let them complete the story. When you ask open-ended questions, they are very excited. And I'm sure they will come up with an exciting addition. And you can keep building a good script as a team. You can even let them choose their characters. Let them decide the name of their characters. Let's see what they come up with. While you're narrating them or telling them a story, maintain an eye contact. Maintaining eye contact is very, very important. Maintaining eye contact grabs not only the kid's attention but also conveys a sense of confidence and truthfulness. When you start narrating the story in a flat tone and look up to them after some time, they are already busy with something else. So don't let that happen. Ask them questions and let them ask you questions because interaction is very important. We usually tend to stop them from interrupting us. We tell them to wait till the story is over. But whenever there is a question in their mind, let them ask. Don't stop them. So each time when such question pops up, take your time to reply to them. Kids asking questions and answering them will satisfy their curiosity and it will tell you that they are listening to you. When we are talking about a story, when there is a beginning, there is a middle, so there has to be an end. So do not leave any story open-ended. Kids expect an end to a story. So even if you are trying to build a continuation in your storytelling, each chapter should end with something that will give them a feeling of completion. For older kids, you can end the story with what next element that we call a cliffhanger. But for younger kids, there has to be a strong ending. When we are talking about storytelling and how to make this whole experience an engaging one or an interesting one, we should understand one point. That after the story has ended, if your child is still in that story world, that dreamland, that is an indication that they were completely into the story. And that's what we want. But for that, we have to make it a ritual of having this storytelling session each night. Then, very soon, they would be able to express their ideas in a much more constructive way. And you will see a positive change in their thinking, in their vocabulary, in their sentence formation. So this was all about storytelling session and how you can make it more interesting for your kids. So if you like today's episode and if you want to check out what all is there on Mother's Gurukul podcast, then don't forget to check out the other episodes on this show. If you are joining me for the first time, then thank you for tuning in. And yes, do subscribe to the channel. If you are listening to this podcast on iTunes, then I request you to give your rating and review. And I would love to know your feedback. Please feel free to reach out to me through my social media handles. You can follow me at Alpana_Dev on Twitter, Alpana Bapat on Instagram, and Mother's Gurukul on Facebook. You can also email me at mothersgurukulpodcast@gmail.com. And if you would like to check out some parenting articles, then www.mothersgurukul.com is my blog. So I will see you soon with another interesting topic right here at Mother's Gurukul Podcast. Till then, stay blessed, stay happy. Bye-bye.